Hi, this is Megan Falcone.
This is Josh Brenner.
And Seth Brenner.
And Mike Castle.
Yes, it's another guest. We got another one.
Seth wanted to be exclusively guest, so we don't ever have to do Relationship Corner again.
Listen, the feedback I'm getting, people love the guest.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm such an active listener that it's pretty surreal to me.
Now, we're aware of this
Yes.
for one very, very special reason, which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah, first let's say all of Mike's...
No,
Okay,
of course.
okay.
I know how to do things.
Wow, so you add a guest and then there's fighting.
There's always been
Oh.
they'll cut that out.
I see.
No, I was teeing it up.
Okay, great.
That one very special reason that we'll get to.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Mike Castle, a brilliant comedic actor, old friend of mine, brilliant writer, improviser, host of one of my favorite podcasts. You know what I would do?
Hey.
All around, just a wonderful guy.
You and I met in a holding situation while auditioning for the same show, and we shared a little pod.
That's right.
And y'all both got the part.
I actually
neither of us
didn't.
got the
I didn't.
Neither of us got the part. Although subsequently, we were in another room,
we did
and
get
you
it twice.
did get the part.
Oh, we had this
and
like
I
3
did not.
times because you got the big one I wanted to get, and then I didn't get it.
Well,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
didn't get it.
Yeah.
Neither of us got the roles that we were being sequestered for, but I did. I was on the show briefly. Yeah.
But I would also say it's so rare that I meet someone at an audition and become friends with them, so it's really a testament to something wrong with both of
A
us.
feather in both of our casts.
But-
Do you think if either of you had gotten that initial job, you would have been able to be friends?
Wait, no, I did. I think the first job I actually did get.
Oh, you did get it.
That was my first job in
Oh,
LA.
that's right.
That was that. The
Wait.
unaired
That was the
Mandy Moore
first
pilot
one?
was my very first job. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. Well, because
I think I
you
was
had
scared
already
of
been...
you afterwards. I think I was like,
Well,
he probably hates me or is mad at me or.
I've clearly repressed the memory.
Yeah,
because
well,
it was too
it feels like
painful.
I bragged. I feel like I just bragged.
Well,
I'm almost like,
congratulations.
No, you
thank
had
you so much.
You
It
had
didn't
to-
go. It didn't go.
You had to set the record
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
because I was thinking about Silicon Valley and then Step Brothers.
Oh no, that one. What was
Half
that
Brothers.
called? Bad advice from my brother. That was. what
I
that
just
was
made
called.
that up.
Did you get that one too?
Yes, he
I
got
got
it.
that one. Yeah,
He's crushing.
But they never aired, so I feel like it was sort of like they never went anywhere. Actually, it's like
Did
I
you
got
get
a job
paid?
and then I killed it. Yes.
Yeah, you got paid.
I think Seth asked me who you were, and I said that you and Josh auditioned for the same roles, and if it was going to go young and handsome, you got the job.
Okay.
And if it was going to go techie, Josh got the job.
That's really sweet.
That's really kind.
And since for those who might not be watching but rather listening, Mike is the tallest person any of us have ever met.
What's your height?
6'3".
That's
Yeah,
Look at
so
me.
sorry.
He got so
sorry.
contrite.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, now do you want to do this?
Yeah, no, I think you can do it now.
Well, you go ahead.
Well, in addition to being the younger, more leading Josh,
Thank you.
Mike is also on the show because he sent us perhaps the greatest correspondence the Seth in the City podcast at gmail.com, that's Seth in the City podcast at gmail.com email has ever received.
Yeah. This email is printed out in front of me, and it is 3 full pages.
Yeah. Yes.
Long.
Single space.
Would you like to do a short reading? Do you want me to do a short reading?
I think it'll be funnier if you do it.
It says, from Mike Castle. Longtime listener, first-time emailer. Love the podcast. Have developed particular fascination with the point system, which I believe by design makes absolutely no sense. I decided to keep track of them and include a not-so-brief chronicling of the system and how it came to be. And then we've got a title, A Brief History on Josh's Point System. I chronicle the entire history of the points below, but I'd just like to hit some bullet points of interest. First and foremost, the point system, which seems quite weighted against Megan,
Thank you.
misspelled, was actually introduced by Megan,
Yeah.
which is mind
Imagine
blown
the
already.
bombshell when I discovered that.
Absolutely. I mean,
Wait,
were
what?
when this
Yes.
when this email came in, we were just lounging on the couch, which is mostly what we do.
Yeah.
And we were reading on our devices side by side, and at the same moment we were like, what?
I read this email. I must have.
It was from
skimmed over
corrections.
that.
She basically gives you guys both points, and then Josh commandeers it almost instantly
yeah,
afterwards.
Welcome
which is,
to our marriage.
Yeah. Yep. You steal roles from me, and I steal her bits. Secondly, Josh gives out points to listeners with incredible and even admirable abandon. Thirdly, I am largely in agreement with Seth's hatred of the point system.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think his hatred is based in the lack of overall logic to the system, which in turn makes Josh want to make it more illogical and frustratingly random, which I admire. Most important of all, as of the last episode, and this is a while back, the total points are Josh 257, Meg -19, Seth 4,341 and a half.
The big jump was in the episode The Importer Exporter Part 1. Josh awards Seth 4,000 points for making the pun. I've been this a long time.
Explosion.
4,000 points for that?
That-
Can you believe it?
And I stand by that. I absolutely stand by that. And then Larry Listener 2, Esther's Restaurant 50, Listener Helen 50, Rob Listener 50, Ethan Listener 75, Amanda Friend 50, Mike Friend Listener Point Aggregator -25. And I'm sorry about that. We'll see what we can do.
Cold. I think there were a lot of surprises in there.
Yeah.
And it was, and I think I say this somewhere in there, but it was kind of funny to me to listen to how wrong you were about the points. and so confident, and I was like, he doesn't even know, so I have to
All right,
send
so
this
we'll
email.
cut all that out and just we will not continue on, but suffice it to say, Mike proceeds to go episode by episode and keep the tallies and let us know what went on in each episode to get the points to the point they were, which leads me to just, I think, the main question we had you on to ask, which is the question we ask Seth pretty much every episode: what's wrong with you?
That's a great question. I think I'm a comedic maximalist. I think especially when I find that something is totally not worth doing for my life, my daily life, I go like, I really gotta double down and really get this done.
How long did this take you to compose here?
Well, I almost like developed like a sixth sense for if a point was going to be happening, so I could do it while doing something else. Like I would be like working out or something, and I go, oh, point, and then I like write it down. Or
did this occur to you to do immediately, or did you have to
No,
go back
I
and
was
re-listen
deep in.
to
I was
episodes?
deep in. Yeah, and then I was like, I'm gonna go back and go ahead and grab those.
Okay.
You haven't even listened to half the episode.
I have no idea.
No,
what
and I
goes
could
on.
tell actually as I was going back, I could tell I had listened more than you guys have. I could feel it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're sitting at -25 points currently.
Yeah.
Just to start to rectify the situation, I'd like to give you 5 points for the phrase comedy maximalist.
Thank you.
And then for your efforts,
Yeah.
I'd
Which,
like.
by the way, my wife was very judgmental of.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
can't
call her out
imagine.
on the pod. She's like, "You're going through right now, you're doing that right now." I was like, "I gotta get this done."
Can't imagine this is an activity that would be good for a marriage.
Yeah. It weighed. I do recall at one point going, "I only have 3 episodes left. I have 3 episodes left," and then she was like,
And was that
"Okay."
true?
It might not have been true, but I could see the light. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Your wife, since you bring it up, she's a very successful and renowned podcaster.
Yes.
As
Lauren
are you.
Lapkus, yes.
Have you ever done anything like this for one of her podcasts?
No.
Good.
No.
In that case, I'm ready to do what comes next here, which is to award you 4,000.
Whoa!
300
I'm getting ahead of Seth. Yes.
and
Do that math, Josh.
4,300 and I'm being told 61.75 points.
Oh.
What
Wait,
happened?
no. Something is wrong.
What?
Something is wrong.
Wow.
Wait, I got too many digits?
Yes, you
yes.
have way too
I would
many
guess
digits.
erase the 4.
Where did the 6 come from? This
I
is,
feel like
this
you
is
have
great
to lose
TV.
points. You have to
Oh,
lose
yeah, that's
points.
fair. And
There's-
Josh gets -10 and then also plus 25.
That's smart.
And of course, each of those is worth 5 or 10 each.
That's
I
right.
can't
Yes,
remember.
I think it's 10.
Which I believe will put Mike Castle in the lead for points.
That's huge.
and
It's not why I did this.
No,
I want you
yeah,
to know,
listen.
it's not why I did it.
And you can lose those just as fast as
Yes,
you got to. If
yes.
you
Let me
want,
tell you,
you
you
can
will
walk
use-
out of here right now.
I think I should leave.
If you want to hear Mike's email in full, make sure you check out the bonus episode this week, wherever you get your podcasts. So now that you're here on the podcast,
Yeah.
is there anything that you'd like to ask us?
Well, I prepared 10 questions I want to ask Seth.
I love that.
Yes.
Of
Well,
course
because
he
I
did.
kind of feel like
Wait, is this maximizing this?
Yeah. But they're real questions. I just feel like I have a very rare opportunity, which is to take my parasocial relationship and then I get to ask the questions that I've thought while listening to the podcast. And so I wrote down 10 questions that it's sort of occurred to me in various waves as I've listened.
I can't wait for this.
Before we jump in, can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
Was it a situation where you had 8 or 9 and you were like, I should really round it out and get to 10? Or
I have 12.
do you have too many?
also.
Yeah.
I'm only
I
gonna do. I'm gonna kind of read
suspected
the
that.
room. Yeah.
As relevant to this podcast, You have a wife,
Yes.
so you've presumably dated. Have you ever been on the apps?
I have never been on the apps. No.
Okay.
I would say I've never felt closer to Josh than the way that you talk about Seth's experience on there. I echo every single thing that you said.
My anxiety, my
Yes,
disgust,
sounds absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
Every
it's-
single thing. I'm like, I don't want that.
Well, would you mind telling us how you met your spouse? And
It's not super relatable. We met on a TV show and became friends.
Well,
and
you
then...
met at work. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So yes,
yeah.
that's what I should say. Yes, we met at work and became friends.
Yeah, I think your
Yes,
office
yes.
is just like my
Yes.
office.
Yes, it's the same.
Yeah,
It is the
all
same.
three of you. This
Yes.
really.
Have we all played doctors? I played a doctor once in an unaired pilot. I know you play one every day.
I
but
do.
Surely you have.
Never.
I don't think I have.
Really? I can see the coat.
I read with you once on a script you were at least auditioning
Mike probably
for.
got
I
it.
was gonna say, did I get it?
Because you didn't know how to pronounce eosinophil, and you called me for the in the middle. Yeah, that's
You
right.
seen it?
Eosinophil.
Still doesn't.
Still
know.
don't. Still
Yeah.
don't have it. Still don't have it.
Yeah.
No memory.
Clearly, you didn't get
Didn't
it.
get it.
Megan.
Over the strike, we did a project where you were a doctor.
I forgot. Oh yeah, I was in Scrubs for that whole thing, which is the best thing about playing a doctor.
Yeah.
You can eat whatever you want at Crafty because you're in Scrubs.
Well, I had like the big white coat on, which also hid my bulk.
That's
so,
great.
yeah.
You could really hit it hard.
What did you play a doctor on?
Another unaired pilot that was called Pandas in New York.
You've collected a number of unaired pilots.
I have an unbelievable amount of them.
You're the almost most famous person
No, exactly.
that we've ever known.
Yes.
That's another role that you got that I
The
did
Pandas
not. No, the Untitled Robert Padnick Greg Daniels
Yes,
project
yes,
is another one that you
yes,
got that I
yes.
did not get.
I want to go back.
Yes.
You and your wife were friends before you started,
Yes.
and
Well,
we were friends before we started dating.
I
Why
can't
did-
imagine not doing that. I feel about myself like there's almost no way you would like me if you're first meeting me. But it's like you start to get the idea. Like I always feel like I would prefer someone see me do an improv show before meeting me because
Okay.
then they're gonna like me a little bit more.
But that's why the path of friendship to relationship is really
I
great.
think it's a fantastic way
Hard
to
to
do
do on an app.
it. Impossible to do on an app.
Yes,
It's the apps.
yeah.
The apps imply dating. The
Yeah.
apps
And it feels like
imply-
when you become friends, it is over.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
It's pretty
friend
bizarre.
zone.
That's pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our experience of becoming friends first, I feel like you're sort of unconsciously seeing how much you make sense together. Where it's like,
Totally.
yeah.
Can we pry into your marriage?
Sure.
How did the steppage from friendship to more than friendship happen?
Very, very slowly over a course of many years. Like it was
Over
pretty
years?
random. Yeah, like she asked me to do her podcast when we were just co-stars on a show, and I was so complimented by it that I was like, I have like a cool, funny friend. This is so cool.
Do you think you're gonna end up marrying any of us?
I just I'm curious to see like what the points are at the end, basically, and then I feel like I'll know. But it was sort of just like, I mean, for me, I value someone being funny like over everything.
Yeah.
And so then my wife is so funny that I was sort of like, it's like I can have a crush on someone because they're funny, but it's not even a romantic crush or something. And then it kind of becomes like a more real sort of thing.
So do you think that was the term a proximity crush?
Yeah, but also like it's so hard to explain, but like when you feel that they have like these intangibles, I guess, where it's like I can't even describe why I think she's so much funnier than everybody or something. But then it's like that's there, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. She's so funny, and then it's like everything sort of builds from there.
Sounds like just a really high sparkometer for you.
It was really high. Oh, I was wondering how much does clothing affect sparkometer for you?
That's a great question.
It's not one of my 10. It doesn't count.
For me, not a ton. I'm not
Do you feel like it gives you insight on what the person is like?
So for me, if I'm being as superficial as I possibly can, sure. I think a woman looks her best in a pair of jeans,
Yeah,
or workout clothes at the gym.
Uh-huh.
Getting dolled up, putting on a fancy dress, doing the makeup doesn't do it for me. Almost less is more for me.
Yes,
so I don't know that I'm the right person to say that, to answer that question, because for me,
The question is for just you and your
Yeah, I'm
specific
curious
taste.
specifically
so,
about the
That's
math
my-
of the
that's-
so
sparkometer.
you're the right person.
Oh,
I think,
okay,
to
great.
answer it.
But-
Yeah, true. Thank you for having my back.
But
No
there.
case in point, we talked about Aspen. If I met a girl out and she shows up in a fur coat, I'm gonna be pretty turned off.
But that's because you can't see her physique.
Well, obviously, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna be turned
I
off.
don't know. I was like, is that true? I don't know.
I'm gonna be turned off if she's wearing a $50,000 mink coat, which is just
Oh, it's financial for you.
no.
No, but that is what I mean about the fashion of it. It is the way that the fashion reflects something about the person. Because like even as you say in jeans, I'm like, yeah, but what kind of jeans? Because if they're like,
I would not
but I don't know either.
I would
But I'm
never
saying, but
notice that.
visually, I would go like, oh, she's doing that look from like Abercrombie in like early 2000s. Like that's kind of not a good whatever. The little flary.
Okay.
No, the flare is
Flare's
back.
back.
Is it back?
Flare's
Oh, yeah.
back.
Oh, Lauren's going to kill
Flare's
me. Lauren's going to
back.
kill me.
And they've got the boot cut is the thing. Is that the same or is that different?
It's two different cuts. Boot cut is
Yeah.
a little more.
But they're both.
They're back.
Seth, do you wear boot cut?
Okay, can I get my 10 questions?
We'd love
in,
it.
please?
Yes.
We'd love it.
Okay, and I wanted to preface also by saying that you can have the shortest answer possible. You can say yes or no, or non-answer, or whatever. It's all good. I've just thought about these all a fair amount while listening.
I'm excited.
Wow.
Okay, and nothing's like super invasive or anything. Okay,
bummer.
so my first question is: did you have a lot of crushes growing up?
Yes, absolutely. Girl crazy since I was in 3rd or 4th grade.
Crazy.
Sort of, it was, because I always think of it as like the seasons of my life were like about who I had my crush on, basically.
I could absolutely tell you 4th grade crush, 3rd grade crush, and then celebrity crushes all along the way.
Okay,
yes.
this surprises me.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason I was like, I bet he didn't have like a lot of crushes growing up or something. So this is great.
You think
for
I
me.
was a late bloomer?
Or no, that you just like weren't interested, because I also get the impression that you were cool growing up.
No.
Oh,
no.
see, this is why I had to come in.
He was Mr. Runner-up, Mr. Bel Air.
That's what it was. It was
Oh,
that.
but that's later. Tell me if I've already shared this story on the podcast.
Mike, let him
I'll
know.
let you know.
Thank you. After knowing Seth for many years, and as the shredded workout Adonis that he is,
Oh, stop it.
Megan came home to our house in Houston for the first time and is looking at family photos and sees a picture of this kid and goes, "Who is that?" And it's a little scrawny, pale-faced, wimpy kid in glasses, like a little bit of acne. And I said, "That's Seth." And Megan goes, "No, it's not that obvious."
That he had the glow up, basically, and then
He had
became
to.
a serial dater.
That is...
Yeah. He's compensating for life.
I mean, I was a nice little Jewish boy.
Yeah, now look at you.
But when do you think this shift happened? Because you did become cooler in your life. When do you think you became cooler? What year?
I think my middle school, and by the way, our middle school was called the I Wiener Jewish Secondary School, which is
That's hard to
Yeah,
overcome. That's hard to
yeah,
overcome.
dude.
that's tough.
That's not easy.
There were 22 kids in my middle school 8th grade class.
That's
the
small.
whole class.
22 little eye wieners.
22 little I Wieners.
Wow.
See, you're picking on me
Yeah,
now.
what choice do I have?
I feel like I always had a big personality and was always social, but I think once I got to a public high school, things kind of started to open up. I mean, going from a class of 22 people to 1,000 people
Oh, wow.
is a big change, and you either get engulfed by that change or you embrace the change.
Yeah.
You left one wiener behind and really grew into another. It's cut.
About points.
Unfortunately, it's not cut. That's going to be a -7.
Like if I were just listening to the pod and I heard her say that, I would pause because I would go, points are coming. There's gonna be a point change happening right now.
But anyways, I think that was a big step in my life. A big change in my life.
Okay, moving on. Okay, would you be surprised if an ex or a datee said that you weren't vulnerable?
No, not at all.
Like you would say he's not.
I oftentimes will joke and say I'm dead on the inside and just completely shut down.
But is it a joke?
That's a joke?
In the business, you are one moment away from someone dying.
Oh no, I think I'd just be crying if I had your job all day long.
No, you wouldn't, because at first it affects you when you're in med school, or the first time you see someone die, or the first time you have to tell someone that they've got terminal cancer, or that this is not good, or you have to tell the family that they just lost a loved one. And it affects you, and you have to go see the next patient. You don't have a choice.
And so for you, women and dates are the same basic thing where you have to just go see the next one.
Sometimes it is difficult to separate because you are hurting and you are sad, and a lot of times the best remedy is to just start seeing someone else. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it. I'm saying it's the wrong way to do it. In my professional life, I don't have time to sit and wallow and think about it, because there are people waiting. There are dozens of people waiting to be seen, and they deserve my best.
There's Betsy and Kelly and Stacy and Sydney.
You named just a lot of my exes. I do want to say, paradoxically, that was one of the most vulnerable moments we've ever had with Seth on the podcast, in him telling you that he's dead inside and not vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's,
Well, I absolutely do make myself vulnerable in the right situation. If I do care about someone and I do want to see things proceed, yes. If not, then
But it might be the like the conditionality of it, I think might be part of like a root problem.
It's definitely
Where I go,
right.
like, because you're waiting on the if, and then like, but if most of these relationships won't get to the if, then it's like they're dead before they even have a chance.
Yeah, that's what the apps are for.
Yeah, yes. Okay, do you like flirting?
Oh, love. It's like that's
Sub
next
question,
level.
what do you like about flirting?
There is an interaction with people that is so unique when it's flirting. Flirting to me is such a beautiful art of a back and forth. What? Why is that funny?
I'm sorry, it made me laugh. I'm not going to apologize.
How old were you when you decided you wanted to be a doctor?
Great question. I again, nerd growing up, but I've always loved science. We come from a long line of family of physicians on both sides of the family, so it was never really a matter of being a doctor. It was a matter of, was I not going to play shortstop for the Astros?
Yes.
Once we realized that wasn't going to happen.
When was that?
I was 11. No.
Shortstop, really?
I mean, yeah, you got the arm, got the range.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to...
What do you not have?
I couldn't hit.
Oh, I thought it was the height.
No.
Ever since Altuve came, I mean, Altuve is a second baseman, but ever since Altuve came along, he's got no excuse.
Yeah,
none of us have an excuse.
No, except I couldn't hit. That's a decent excuse.
He's really small.
Altuve's like 5'5", 5'6".
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He's a
Short King Spring, right?
Short King Spring.
My God, you keep on referencing things from the podcast, and I go like, oh, that's so funny. We were just talking about that on the podcast.
Yeah. That's hence parasocial. That's my joke. That's my joke with you guys.
Yeah,
in my mind, that's my joke with you guys. Yeah. But the reason I asked that is I always feel like there were these certain guys that I knew growing up who had these sort of like, they always knew they were gonna be like a physicist or a doctor, and then they just were like on this other plane. Like, I literally was very surprised that you always had crushes growing up. I was like, I assumed that you had this like doctor track in mind or something.
No. And then again in high school, I sort of goofed off way too much, and my grades kind of slipped a little bit, and got girl crazy. Had the cool car. And
what is the car?
Why is that funny?
He still has the cool car.
I do still have the cool car.
1995?
95 Mustang GT.
Black Mustang GT.
Still got it.
Hey,
still got
my
it.
cross-country coach had that. So
There you go. Yep. I don't know if, Meg, you're feeling this way, but I'm feeling threatened by how good Mike's questions are.
I'm sort of just letting him take
because I'm an outsider, though. It means a different thing if you guys ask the same questions.
Well, I appreciate you letting us off the hook, but it just makes me feel like maybe we've just been piss poor interviewers all this time and have like been missing, because these are excellent questions.
They're great questions.
Sure.
And I think you're answering them really honestly, which I'm impressed by.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I know you have like a science background. I'm also very enthusiastic about science.
Right.
And do you feel in your core like troubled by the applicable science of the dating app stuff? Like, how do you learn from your mistakes? It feels like it's almost so nebulous that there's kind of weirdly no learning.
So this is a great question. So you fall into these same patterns.
Yeah.
You start messaging with someone who you have no intention of going out with, or someone does just become a time filler. Just you're sitting at home, you got nothing else going on.
But it's hard though, because it also is attacking like your mathematical thinking, which is like probabilities, and where I go like down to 10. Like it's sick. Correct. It's like a gambling addiction. That's how it feels.
Oh, this is very much an addiction.
Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting too that I feel like when the dating apps started, or were in their sort of peak, and I think we're in kind of like the post-app reckoning phase, it was like, oh, the algorithms are helping and make it so that it's more likely that people are going to like get together and it's going to be successful. Although now we're going like, oh no, they just really want you to keep swiping and meeting people. And so like, what does the algorithm actually do?
Right. That's what these lawsuits are
But
alleging.
that's even more nefarious than I think I even realized, because you're putting faith in the thing. That it's
and it
telling
literally
you,
wants the opposite.
We're going to use math to help you, and it's actually we're going to use math to keep you alone.
But the problem is, and the argument they're going to make is that the apps do work. The apps do create dates and relationships and hookups if that's what you're going for.
Well, plus there's mathematical ambiguity of like what people are actually like. They can't be sure you're going to be with the wrong person. Right. You know, it's like you could still be with the right person even if they're trying to get you to stay on the app forever. You know, it's
the expert algorithm reader going in and like looking at the code. You wouldn't be able to prove or disprove any of that stuff, because I imagine it's
and there's
also
stuff like we don't know
black box.
Yes, definitely.
And what's the measure of success?
Well, it depends what your endpoint is. If you're looking just to get out there, meet a couple people, go on a few dates. If you're in town for a month on a work project and you want to,
This feels really specific to you.
Yeah, it's like you've got a sublet for like 4 to 6 months in like, let's say, I don't know, a beach town.
Growing up, did you ever notice any kind of categorical difference in your perspective or pursuit of relationships compared to Josh's?
I just think I was way more girl crazy than Josh.
Agreed?
My answer to this would be that I didn't understand any of it and imprinted on Seth as understanding how to do it.
Yes.
So
sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, I drew, like, I'd hear the way you spoke to like a high school girlfriend, and then I would use those same phrases to like talk to a girlfriend at the same time.
All my high school girlfriends adored you and loved you.
Oh
yeah, I had crushes on all of them.
Yeah, and you have great little brother vibes.
Great
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting timing-wise because you had a really serious girlfriend in high school.
Yes.
Which maybe primed you to have serious relationships.
I know where you're going with this.
We became less close. Seth, I was like hero worship of Seth, and then he went on his little summer trip, met this girlfriend, and then didn't have as much time for his baby brother.
How long was that relationship?
We were on and off for 5 years.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
End of high school through college.
Yeah.
I think I did have I wanted to be like more grown up in dating because I saw you be like older and cool dating, and then I just sort of surpassed you when I started having adult relationships.
Sure.
But like, did you see him as almost being more like less interested in like these sort of serial dating girls?
Definitely.
Sort of...
I feel like you were
always girlfriend.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That didn't go anywhere Mike cared about.
Were you ever in a committed relationship that you suddenly and maybe unexpectedly like really wanted out of?
All of them, it feels like.
It's never suddenly. There's never a switch that gets thrown. It's sort of a slow bleed out.
I would always have like a switch. That was like, so
Really?
many relationships would happen where it would be like, I would just have a moment. I go like, I shouldn't be dating this person. And then it was like, I could never ignore that voice.
Oh, interesting. I've never had like I think I maybe have, but nothing like, that's not a serial problem for me.
And is it usually like agreed upon? Like you both are feeling that way?
I think so. I think we've talked about this in past.
Megan's given a lot.
Are you being honest here?
Yes.
Well, where you feel like he's out and they're still interested.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Seth checks out about a month before it's clear that it's the end of the relationship, and then the relationship devolves like a month after that.
Okay, great.
Don't you think that's true?
Yeah.
You like lose a little bit of interest, and then you start to be a little withholding, be a little distant, not
And you go like,
text
they'll
back.
solve this.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna break up.
And then she starts fighting with you, and then you're like, I don't know, we're fighting all the time. We're probably gonna break up.
Yeah.
No.
A known tactic.
Yes.
Not always.
Yes.
No, stop. Not always. No.
Yes.
No.
And just circling back, you had said this thing about how kind of your medical professional headspace can sometimes inform how you date. Do you think it's telling at all that you refer to the way your relationships end as bleeding out?
Yeah, I think that fits. I think that fits perfectly.
Yeah. That's got to be Freudian. Okay. Do you stay friends with exes?
Overwhelmingly, yes.
Yes,
including my most recent ex. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. So this one's kind of almost a confusing question, but how honest would you say you are on dates? And not honest as in not lying or lying, but honest as in like upfront. Like sometimes when you recount a date that I've listened to on here, it's almost like in the interest of being flirty, you're kind of being misleading.
Give me an example, because
I
like to think I am really, really honest and straightforward on these.
Exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Where it's like it's almost like that. You know that saying this one thing is what they want to hear. Oh, actually, I do know a specific one. The one where this was somewhat recent. You were on the date and then you were talking to the couple next to you.
It was the car wash.
Yeah. Yes. I felt like you weren't actually interested in that, and you kind of felt like it was just like zany and whatever, but you were just going along with it because you felt like.
But how is that misleading or lying?
It's not what you actually are interested in doing. Like you're going like, I want to make sure to project outwardly that I am someone who will go along with this.
I am someone who will go along with anything.
Yeah.
I am absolutely a go with the flow
What
kind of guy.
about the girl in Newport Beach?
What about
The
her?
rat?
No.
That's
it is-
Santa Barbara.
that's
Oh,
Santa
yes,
Barbara.
God. That you are so in the wrong there, by the way. That is the most... I've never been more traumatized by anything. We literally... It is like a shorthand in my house now. We literally... No.
It's a very charming thing about Seth because he does it socially too. It's not just in a dating situation where someone will be like, I went to Mizzou, and Seth will be like, oh, Tuscaloosa. I actually spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa because, well, I mean, I didn't, but so a good friend of mine, and then and then it's this
It's kind. It's coming from a kind
thing.
place.
It's like you do this on the chairlift. You do it like you meet somebody you don't know a stranger.
I like
and you-
talking to people.
Great quality. It's a great quality.
But like I'll look at you, like you'll be like, oh yeah, the Dakotas. Oh, forget about it. Some of my favorite places.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And I turn and I'm like, have you been to the Dakotas?
No.
No, but so this is what
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a little bit of this where you're like
Where I feel like it doesn't
very-
actually benefit you. Like,
But how
I
does
get
it hurt the cause?
because like, what if that person is okay with you disagreeing? And like, ultimately, that's actually what you're looking for. My wife and I have almost none of the same interests, but it's like that's kind of like part of the enjoyment of it. As I go, like, of course you don't want to watch this or do this thing with me, but like, we really know that pattern I'm talking about. Like, it could eventually lead to this thing where it's like, well, you presented as being open to the thing way more than you actually are.
Ah,
And
very
I
good.
want to say this is a really great diagnosis because
10 points to Mike.
Wait, wasn't it 4361?
It's not important.
But his
So
name,
too, but this is why I have to keep track of it.
No,
He
because
doesn't
the
do
negative
it right.
20.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Guys, the math holds
It's
up.
perfect.
It's perfect, he says.
Seth, I think you do this sometimes in relationships where you end up not liking someone because you're like, for example, they stay up too late or they
Get up too early.
force you to do
But
something.
early he's
and
saying it's
early
fine.
on, he's like,
Exactly.
it's fine. No, like, it's fine with me. And then week 3, week 4, week 5, you're like, oh my God, this person's driving me crazy. But it's because that person has no idea it's driving you crazy because you said it was fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Something to look into.
We are getting
Hey! And this actually perfectly leads to my last question. What is something you'd like to try changing about yourself?
Nothing.
I think that.
You'd like to put on a few more pounds.
A few more inches.
That's cut.
No, that's good.
I'd like to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
No.
No, I think that is a good answer though. It was. I'm like still moved by you being vulnerable. earlier.
I would legitimately like to settle down
Yeah.
and date.
I actually believe you.
Thank you.
I do believe you. As a listener, I'm like, I want it for you too.
I'm exhausted. Truly would like to find a partner to spend the next half of my life in, and hopefully I have another 45 years in front of me here.
Uh-huh.
In your own words, you've been at this a long time.
You're not getting 4,000.
All right.
Okay.
We feel
Anybody?
good?
I mean, did you have?
I would like to hear about a date, to be honest, but
I
I'm happy to do it
know.
off mic.
Well, I don't know what to do.
So
Do you want to do a two-parter?
Yeah.